N4 H&H here, listening to a soda station in Colorado. I know you don't hear him right now, just give it a second. Hear him? I'm using some DSP. Okay, he's fairly close to 14061.95. Let me show you the S meter here. And I do have amp 2 engaged. I'm going to switch. This is a doublet, 250 feet of wire fed in the middle with a window line coming through a auto tuner with a 4-to-1 balun. I'm going to change to several different antennas, and let's see the difference that the gain of a doublet makes. On these upper bands, okay, off center fed dipole, practically lost him. Cushcraft R5 vertical, how about that? Look at that. Sometimes the Cushcraft wins, not always. Okay, back to the doublet, and thank you, tuner. Okay, now I'm going to switch to a multi-band dipole. It is resonant on this band though. It's a ZS6 Bravo Kilo Whiskey, made by ni4l.com. Okay, but see, there he is. Almost imaginary. You've heard me say that in other videos. They're almost imaginary. These are QRP stations out there on mountaintops, generally running anywhere from 4 to maybe 15 watts. Okay, back to the doublet. Off center fed dipole. That's a Fritzl FD4. Sometimes it wins. But it's hard to beat a doublet in the directions where it'll have a major lobe. There he is, back to the doublet. And the Cushcraft R5. The Cushcraft R5 and the doublet are seemingly neck and neck. And there's the doublet. Now let's see what he would sound like without any assistance from the radio's DSP. See, I'm 300 hertz roofing filter, and this is what I've got engaged over here. Turning off the audio peak filter, disabling the narrow filter. I had it narrowed down to 50, and disabling digital noise reduction. And I'm going to re-engage digital noise reduction. .50 hertz filter. And audio peak filter. Now the audio peak filter, I do have it at -10. So he's probably somewhere closer to 14.061.94. Maybe in between the two. I'm going to turn on the VRF. That's the radio's internal preselector. Sometimes it helps with intelligibility as well. me show you what I did there. I took the VRF, okay, so it's gonna, I'll just hit the reset button there to put it back to default. When it engages, it's gonna have a default position, but if you hear the noise floor dropping, okay, when he sends again, I'll show you. Okay, there we go. Well, I'm not sending right now. What you'll see me do though is I'm going to move this. There he is. Okay, watch. I'm going to intentionally see what that did. So that's just further knocking the noise floor down, but so I slid a little bit left of center frequency. So I'm still hearing him, but with less noise. It's a really nice trick with this 5000 MP limited. That's using what's called VRF, variable radio frequency. It's a fancy name for a pre-selector. Not extremely tight, but better than without one. They do make, and you've seen in other videos, these mu tuners, as they're called, or micro tuners. That's the one for 40, 60, and 80 meters. I don't have the one for 20 and 30. But I find that the VRF does a good job. I mean, listen to that. And again, let me undo everything. Wow. So, re-enabling digital noise reduction, filter, APF, and VRF. And there he is. Let me show you one other little trick about the radio. I know this is a long video, a lot to show you. The APF, the audio peak filter, what I did was I assigned it to be what I get when I tap the custom switch there, CS. Now the way you do that is you just, let me get back out of this, you just go into the menu normally like you would right here, this bottom button to the right of the VFO. See, it brings up the menu. Dial up 112, menu 112, and then what you'll do is you'll go over here and you'll long press the CS button, and that will assign it to immediately bring up menu 112. Now why do I do that? Well, let's look at what menu 112 is. It is the, oops, sorry about the finger there. It is the width of the audio peak filter. Hear how wide, you hear more noise. And this radio has something called super narrow. And so here's narrow. Here's super narrow. Narrow. And narrow is going to be a little louder. But when you go to super narrow, you'll get less noise, and then you can make up for it by turning the volume up a little bit. I use that in combination with a 50 or, let me get out of the menu, with a 50 or 100 hertz width here for CW stations that are really weak like that. Again, so now I can just press the CS button and immediately APF pops up, and I can change it if I want to. On a little bit stronger signal, maybe I would go with a narrow. But there you see the difference in antennas and DSP working together. Let's check that R5 one more time. He's weakened a little bit. Propagation. Oh, now there's the off-center fed dipole. Listen at him. This is why I told my wife you cannot have too many antennas. Yeah, now he's coming in better on the off-center fed dipole. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and sign with you and hope you enjoyed that video and found it informative. Sorry about the 2-meter rig squawking in the background there. 73 to you from N4HNH.